Here we go. Here we go. Welcome, everybody, to another episode of the Food Origins Podcast. I'm excited to have my first return guest on the podcast, John Ferrando. John was on episode 29, a buddy of mine from our old jobs. We used to work together in the same department at San Francisco Police Department. Appreciate John coming on. We got a lot to catch up on, so I'm excited because even back then when we talked at Nick's Seafood in Pacifica, you mentioned you had projects and things you wanted to get going, and here we are. So, John, welcome back, man.
Yeah, right on, Dave. Thanks for having me again, man.
Of course. Happy to have you here for round two. It's been 2 years since the last time we had you on the podcast, so it's pretty cool. A lot of changes. Tell us what's kind of transpired since then. The journey to where you're at now.
Wow, man, a lot. I moved from California to Texas. Found this really cool small town, Waxahachie, Texas. Kind of right off the bat, fell in love with the downtown area. It's an old, like, historic town. They got an old courthouse in there, a bunch of old buildings and stuff. It's like a 4-block square with the courthouse in the middle. And it was a cool town, and I saw potential for growth. I really didn't know what I was going to do, but I knew the opportunity would come available if I wanted to do something. And then, man, I found a house I liked, and I got the house, and like 2 weeks later, I went to Italy for 3 months. um, and then I started liking that. So for about 2 years, I did 3 months in Italy and 3 months in Texas. Going back there, my cousins had an apartment for me, cooking for my cousins, cooking with my, my family, like we talked about before. It was a lot of fun. But then I kind of, believe it or not, got a little tired with the traveling so much, and kind of had this bug, man, to do something, and I didn't know exactly what it was going to be. So every time I came back from Italy, I would do dinner parties at my house, try out different things I learned over there, and got a core group of friends, and then they started talking about meal prepping and catering, and I said, well, I'll try that out. It sounds like fun. And I started to do that, and I started with 2 people. And I think at my highest peak, I was meal prepping for like 15 to 20 people.
Wow.
And doing some caterings on the side.
Okay.
And towards the end of last year, a friend of a friend was like, man, you got to go check out this place in the Rogers Hotel. It's an old historic building right on the square.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, yeah, I'll go check it out. And so I went and checked it out, and I was like, this is it. This is I can see it. This is my vision. And then I got a lot of, oh man, that place is haunted. Like, everybody that goes in there fails. And I was like, that ain't happening, man. I can see past it. I can see through that. Not afraid to put the work in, right? Because we all know how much work it is. And then so I signed the lease, and January 1st, I kind of took over the property because it was just a shell. There was no bar. They had a really nice kitchen. It's a huge kitchen. But other than that, I had to build it all out and clean. The last restaurant that was in there was like 2.5 years ago, or prior to me getting it. So I did a bunch of work on it. I had some friends, some family come out and help me paint, and found a contractor. We did a full build out. Um, and then we opened the doors March 28th for a VIP dinner and April 11th for um, the regular community.
Awesome. That's awesome.
So,
And you've been
yeah,
running and gunning ever since.
yeah, man. Like I mean, all right. I mean, honestly, man, I feel so blessed and grateful. Like the community's response has been way more than I expected. We've been sold out every Friday and Saturday since we opened. Um, I have 57 seats, including the bar. And it has just been unbelievable response from the community. We got like a little bar scene already. We got a bunch of returning guests. And that's not all me. I'm a big um, focal point face man, I guess you can say, to this restaurant. But I have two employees that are part of the management team. The head chef Carrie and the lead front of the house mixologist Jen, that have bought into my vision, man, and believe in me and believe in where we're going. And I couldn't do it without them for sure. And I'm blessed and grateful for that, and everybody else too. From the dishwashers to the busboy and all the servers that um, bought into my concept, and my concept isn't really that hard. Like I told them, we're not in the service industry anymore, and I think a lot of people that use that word kind of forget where we came from, right? I
Hmm.
think we're hospitality, man. Like this is an experience for people. It's just not a transaction anymore if you want to be successful. Um, and on the back of our shirts it says, come as guests, leave as family, and we truly believe in that. We have like I said, like a lot of returning guests, but the main thing is the staff believes in that too. They believe in, you're coming
Yeah.
into my dining room. You're not just coming into my restaurant.
Yeah.
Uh,
Tell us about the Rogers Hotel, the location, and do you know a little history about it?
yeah, man, it's a cool story. It's haunted. I can tell you that.
Oh,
We'll
yeah?
get back to that in a
Okay.
second.
All right.
Um, but yeah, it's I think in the early 1900s. It was finally built with concrete because it burned down, I believe, three times.
Oh,
Um,
man. Okay.
there was a natural fed hot springs pool in the basement. And they used to have spring training in Waxahachie, Major League Baseball.
Oh, wow.
Um,
Right up your
and
alley there.
all, yeah, right. And
Yeah.
so a lot of the old time players used to stay in that hotel for that hot springs.
Huh.
Um, and like to the names of like Ty Cobb, I believe. So
Wow.
not just anyone.
Yeah.
Ty Cobb's a probably really big name in baseball if you follow baseball.
For sure,
Um,
and definitely in the baseball card world too.
yeah,
Like the
yeah,
most
yeah,
sought
exactly.
after tobacco, old school tobacco card ever. Yeah.
Right.
That's cool.
And so, um, it's really cool. It's not a hotel anymore.
Okay.
Um, right now they have office, commercial spaces and some residents that live on the top floor, but that pool has since dried up, and but it's still there.
Huh.
My restaurant actually sits right on top of it,
Oh, okay.
um, which is really cool. Um, I don't take a lot of people down there to see it because, that's up to the owners of the hotel to do that. um,
Sure, sure. That's
but
interesting. What made you choose? I know you touched on it briefly, but I got to ask you what made you pick Waxahachie, Texas? Like I know you were traveling. I do want to ask you a little bit about being in Italy too with your family, but why'd you pick Texas? What made that kind of the seal the deal for you?
well, I've always had like Texas or Florida on my mind. When I left Costa Rica, I didn't want to settle back in California. I was kind of done with that era of my life. And so I had some friends that actually moved to Waxahachie, and I got to give it out to them. If it wasn't for them, I probably wouldn't have found this location.
Yeah,
Um, so it was definitely a score, you know,
for sure.
on their part for leading me here.
Yeah. Well, tell me about being in Italy, spending time with the family, cooking. I'm sure that kind of like helped you further your repertoire of the menu and like seeing things made, traditionally. Like, what was that like being over there, man? Because I know you touched on it briefly, but you've been there a bunch. Even on the last podcast, we talked about a little bit about it, cooking with family. But yeah, tell us what it was like being there. Kind of half of the year.
I mean, Italy is wonderful. I was living in a town where my grandparents grew up. My grandfather grew up in that town, and my grandmother on my father's side grew up in the town next door. It's
What?
called Verazze Cogoletto.
Mm,
Um, and I'm really close with my family back there. But seeing how they cook is really one of the ways I cook here. It's very simple. Well, to me, it is, but um, it's very simple, old school ingredients, just good quality um products. Like I get the San Marzano DOP tomatoes from Italy, and that's the base for a lot of our sauces
mhm.
that we make in house. Um, and I learned a lot through that. Right? I think for me, a lot of people try to get too fancy with Italian food, um, and it's for me, it's really about good food, good quality ingredients, and a great time. Um, and I think when you have that experience and the consistency in the food, it kind of elevates you from other locations. But just the not so strict on how you cut the onions and um, like how this is presented. It's more about the love of cooking itself that I truly believe transitions into the food, into the plate you're serving people. Um, like I tell people, like I'm not putting any fake flowers, edible flowers on my plates, like
Yeah,
it just isn't happening. I'm not going after a Michelin star or anything. I'm going after an old school Italian restaurant.
for sure.
Um,
Yeah, we're gonna get into your menu soon, but like, yeah, like classics, right? Keeping it home, like you want a home style meal, right?
yeah, exactly. Um, and sourcing, I source a lot of local companies, small businesses, um, in my restaurant for that reason. Like you can come to my restaurant and get steak fritz or the steak a la Florentina, and it's a local rancher from the next town over where I'm getting my select, cuts from. Um,
Yeah, that's great to hear because I think a lot of people are interested in that, and they all want to, it's going back to where our foods come from, right, and where we can source it as close as possible to the restaurant.
yeah,
California's really good at that, grabbing local produce and then pulling all the producers and stuff. And yeah, the more you can do that, like everyone's down for that.
Yeah,
You called it
sure.
John's Place, so I think everyone knows knows who it belongs to. That's the second time, right? That you called it that because it wasn't Costa Rica that as well.
Yeah, it was. And I have kind of a good story about that. I was thinking of calling it like Manja or Piccolo Ranch because that's a ranch up in Italy where I hung out with my cousins.
Mm,
But then when word started getting out about me thinking about opening the restaurant, I would listen to people and they would be like, "Oh, when you open the restaurant, we're just going to go to John's place. We're just going to go to John's place." And I was like, "Man, I think I'm overthinking this.
yeah.
Like why not just keep it what it is, um, and make it what I want. The more intimate, not in like very romantic, but intimate kind of feel when you get there. Like you're not just going to a restaurant, you're going to an extension of my dining room.
hmm Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, I've seen some like you've probably seen them. There's some bars and there's some restaurants that try to like front porch, or like they
yeah,
try to make it like their grandmother's like living room, that
yeah,
feel. There's like lanterns and couches and like small, quaint kind of tight spaces. That's cool. Um,
yeah.
how would you describe your restaurant? How do you describe John's Place?
We really have like two different times, right? Because we're very close to the courthouse. So for lunch, um, we have people that are coming over, and they got to get back to work, and we have sandwiches and burgers, and well, actually we have one burger. It's an Italian hamburger, but um, and things like that. And then dinner, we slow it down, and I've even extended the times on the reservations for dinner to, I think Open Table wants like an hour and a half, and I've pushed that out to 2 hours, because I want people to get back to enjoying going to dinner and having a conversation and enjoying the moment and the food and the drinks, and the people you're with. And I think that's one reason why we're paying off. It's um it's a comfortable restaurant. It's not, there's no dress code. Um, people do dress up sometimes for it, and the lunch crowd is usually business attire. Um, but it's very comfortable, I think. And um people enjoy that.
And it goes right in that question is what is the experience you want your guests to have when they when they get there and when they leave? What do you want them to feel?
I mean, I want them to feel like they are family, that they came as guests, and they're leaving as part of the restaurant.
Mhm.
They, I go out to almost every table I can and introduce myself and talk to them. And um, people really love that because it makes it more personal. And I want them to feel like they've had like a really good experience, and that they're cared about and wanted and needed for the success of the restaurant, because they are, right.
Yep.
That's what we need
Yeah.
as entrepreneurs and restaurant owners, right. We need the community, we need their support, and having them come in and um feel like we honestly care, because we do care, um about each and every guest that comes in. We treat everybody the same, and we welcome everybody, and we give them all the same professionalism and courtesy and um, welcoming.
Yeah. That's awesome. We're gonna get into the menu, but before I do, what dish probably on the menu describes yourself? Like tells your story the best. What do you think?
I mean, I'm gonna have to go with my lasagna.
Yeah.
It's It's one of our best sellers. And it's just a really solid comfort style lasagna. It's not an authentic Italian lasagna. It's kind of something I created over the years of eating so much and cooking with my family in Italy and cooking here at home. And I make a uh, a two meat, three cheese, uh, four layered lasagna. And man, it it's good. And we're making like a sheet pan every day um, of it, and we're selling out. We sell out a lot um, by like 8:15 because we are a scratch kitchen. We do everything in house from cooking the rice for the arancini to rolling them to pounding out the chicken for the chicken parm and breading it and um, making the tiramisu and the cannoli cream and um, everything pretty much on that menu is created in the kitchen um, with my staff and you know um, and my head chef. Like, she has bought into my recipes. She controls it. She produces them just like I would do it. And that's part of our success. Like, our meatballs sit in a San Marzano marinara,
Mm.
for hours, and then we plate them, and people go crazy for them. And it's nothing fancy. It's
Yeah.
just good, clean,
Yeah. Uh-huh.
fresh
Yeah.
ingredients.
Are you hand
Um,
making the some of the pasta in house too?
well, I have a buddy. Well, to answer your question, no. I have a buddy that owns a business in Dallas,
Mm,
and we source all the fresh homemade pasta from him.
nice.
So I drive up to Dallas every Monday, excuse me, every Monday to pick up the pasta. And then on Thursday nights, he overnights us whatever we need for the weekend. Um, so I don't think I'd be able to keep up making that much pasta as much as we go through. I don't think
Sure.
I'd ever sleep.
Sure.
Um, but it's all fresh. It's his grandmother's recipe from Italy. So they get the semolina and oo flour. Um, so it's really clean, good ingredients. Um,
Yeah, I mean, your menu's got like a lot of classic stuff. So like, I mean, arancini, calamari's on there. You got two types. Um, obviously meatballs, you got soup, you got sandwiches, steak, obviously dessert, tiramisu, butter cake. You got a whole bunch of things. Is there some that you want to highlight on there that you're like, hey, you've probably had my lasagna or some of the pasta, but I want you to try this maybe next time because we're gonna put this out everywhere.
yeah, no, I would definitely try the chicken parm genovese.
Okay.
So that that is a dish where we use the same chicken parm that you would use for a chicken parm, but instead of putting the cheese on top and sticking it in the salamander to melt the cheese, I just put the marinara sauce on top of it, and then I have whipped ricotta and pesto, and I just dab it on top of it, and it kind of, well, it doesn't kind of, it when you cut it through and the marinara mixes with the pesto and the whipped ricotta, it kind of turns into a portofino sauce,
Mm.
um, which is three sauces all mixed together, right? It's the marinara, Alfredo, and pesto. So it's marinara, pesto, and some sort of cream, um, which we can go into Alfredo not being Italian, but um,
I do. Yeah.
um,
I did. I was reading through just to kind of like get a gist of the menu. I was reading through the menu, and you have on there fettuccine alfredo, which probably does well. Tell us why it's not Italian, and then tell us how they do it in Rome as well. Tell us that.
Yeah, so you can't find a creamy fettuccine alfredo. Um, it's not going to be. You're not going to find it in Italy. I mean, maybe you can now, but not if you go to any small town. Um, unless you go to Rome and you go to places where they have fettuccine alfredo, but it's not a creamy based sauce. So in Rome, they basically do it with butter, Parmesan cheese, and the starchy water that you cook the pasta in.
Mm,
And, you shake that or you mix that all together and it emulsifies and becomes like a lighter cream
yeah.
with those three ingredients, and obviously you got to use cold butter. Um, but it's good. It's I want to say it's kind of like the old butter and cheese pasta your mom would make you when you were little,
Hmm.
without the shake and the pasta water creating the creaminess to it.
Yeah, just getting like just buttered noodles, pretty much,
Yeah, yeah,
and
just
then
a little creamier.
yeah, and throwing a bunch of Parmesan on.
Yeah,
At least back then, and then you get better, and you're like, "Oh, I want pepper. I want some cracked pepper on there, maybe some
yeah.
garlic." Start,
Then
kicking it
you
up.
get into like a you get into like a cace de pepe
Mm,
and other things like that as you get
right,
older. And
right. That's
yeah,
awesome.
yeah.
What's your favorite dish on the menu?
That's a funny story because a lot of people ask me,
Yeah.
and so um pretty much I tell them, now that I'm an entrepreneur and I'm starting this restaurant, I really like, everything that we can't hold till the next day because I'll go home and eat that for dinner. Um, so
Yeah, that's fair.
because I don't want it to go bad, so I take it home and I eat it. But
The Food Origins podcast is sponsored by Firecracker Farm out of Florida. It's Alex Buttermart and his family grow hot peppers and infuse them into sea salt. You guys have seen me cook with it on social media quite a bit. And the podcast is now sponsored by Firecracker.farm. I have a promo code Food Origins Pod C. You get 10% off your first order. Make sure you check it out. Come in these awesome push grinders. And also, you'll see my latest flavor that I inspired Alex to make, yuzu. It's an awesome buddy batch. Use it on pretty much everything. You can use it on eggs, steak, chicken, vegetables, coffee, spirits. Um, awesome way to wake up with a little scoop of honey and some hot salt on there. A lot of fun ways. I have a bunch of recipes that I've written for Firecracker Farm on the website, so check that out. There's a good 18 recipes or so. Plus, 10% of the proceeds go to Op 300 and Pipe Hitter Foundation. So make sure you check them out. Appreciate the support. Thanks for listening. Enjoy the episode.
um, the meatballs are by far one of my favorites, and I don't even put veal in it anymore because of how expensive it is.
Mm.
Um, so it's just a two meat and a couple other ingredients. Um, but I really like the way we do our meatballs. And that's been so the top three sellers are lasagna, meatballs, and the eggplant parm. And the eggplant parm, we cook it to order because we do it in rounds. So it's still crispy. It's not, you know, soft or fatu like we say. Um, you get you get it like a crispy ring. You get three crispy rings. We do put marinara, parmesan, and mozzarella on top and stack it. Um, but that's really good too. I mean, I'm really happy and proud of the menu we created and how we're executing it with the consistency every day.
Yeah.
So it's
No,
kind of hard to pick
I,
one.
I bet. And I'm stoked for you, man, because I know it's been a long time in the works for you. So
Yeah.
I'm pretty stoked for you. You mentioned something kind of odd with your place. We got to get in that story before I start giving you some like more fun rapid fire questions. But the place is haunted. Tell us about that.
Oh yeah. So um there's a couple ghosts that live in there. Um I haven't met any of the ghosts upstairs. I really haven't met any of the ghosts. But
Okay.
there's a reason why.
Okay.
Um so when I first, and I love telling this story because people always told me, "Oh, it's haunted, oh, it's this." And I have a little storage room downstairs, that leads into the pool. And there was a tragic event years ago, um, where a little girl ended up drowning in the pool downstairs.
Mm.
Um, so I came back home one night and I was like, man, I wonder what her name is. And I looked it up and I couldn't find anything. Um, so I was in my office because I have a little office in the restaurant, and this name Esmeralda came to me. And I was like, that's like an old school name, like Ezzy. So if you walk through the kitchen, I have a back door, and the back door um, leads down into the basement. There's like two-tier steps. And so when I was by myself, I would open that door and it's a little freaky. I can't lie to you, and and I would open the door and I'd be like, "Hey, Ezzy, it's Uncle John. I'm the favorite uncle, so don't scare me because I'm gonna scare you back." Um, I've told all my staff about Ezzy and that I'm her favorite, and um, she's never come out and really shown herself yet. We have had a couple puddles in the kitchen that kind of appear out of nowhere, and
Okay.
that is one of her traits that she leaves. Um, because she drowned in the pool, so I guess she's still kind of wet. Um, but
Whoa. I was gonna ask if there were like things in the kitchen that were like moved or something, and you're just like, there was no one here.
no, just the puddle, that's happened a couple
Okay.
times. Um,
Wow.
so she was coming up to check it out, I guess. But when I'm in my office, um, alone, like nothing really happens. And when Jen, the manager, the lead mixologist, she pretty much runs the front of the house for me.
Mhm.
Um, when she comes in my office, the lights are flickering pretty crazy. And I don't know if Ezzy doesn't like her or is jealous of her or or what, but um yeah, I mean you can ask Jen, she'll tell you the same thing. So anytime like, my employees forget something, I'll let them know that I'm gonna let Ezzy know to go take care of them. So
Oh, that's funny.
yeah.
Wow, that what a trip. Is there other people come in to talk about it or people that worked there before? Have you talked to any of them or
Oh dude,
any
there's
stories from
there's
that?
like I think like ghost hunters and episodes like that have gone in and done studies. And
Yeah, I was gonna ask if those guys have come in too. Yeah.
they haven't come into me
Okay.
personally.
Okay.
I don't give anyone access to that area.
Yeah.
That's for the property manager to do that. Um, but there's plenty of people that walk around that hotel um looking for signs of the ghost or ask us questions
Hmm.
about if it's haunted or not. Um, and I always tell them the same story. Like, yeah, it is.
Yeah.
There's a man in a cowboy hat that apparently walks the halls upstairs, and there's Ezzy who kind of hangs out with us now. I think if you look at my restaurant, you'll see like I have all the photos on the wall are of my family, and it's
Hmm.
all from you know the 40s, 50s, 60s. Um, And I think Ezzy really likes the fact that, she's got this old school restaurant that's kind of around her era. And she has company now too.
Yeah, and you got an old school photo. I was looking at some of the you got them up on the website as well. Cooking with your Uncle Barba. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, my great uncle, God rest his soul, he died at 100 years old. That's my grandma's um, brother, but
Mhm.
his name's It's Armando. So
Mhm.
Barba is a is Zanese, which is the dialect in Italy, and Barba means uncle. Um, like Lala in that dialect means aunt. Like my, you know, Lala Mariuchia, who I cook with, she's still alive in Italy, and she's in her early 90s now. Um,
What were you making with your uncle? What would you guys cook together?
well, in that one picture, we were grinding salt, which was really
Mm,
cool, and he always loved this dish, and I don't think anybody else liked it in the family, but I liked it, and it was steaks and tomato, and it's not like he grilled a steak and sliced tomatoes like we would do, like a tomato cucumber salad. He would cook the tomatoes and the steaks all together. He would like chop it up, and I cooked that with him. I mean, that was years ago, and that I liked it. I've even cooked that here a couple times, but his wife Lala Mariuchia always like made a face when he was cooking it or something else, which was fun.
Is it almost like, is it just sautéed together pretty much?
Kind of, but it's more in a pot than a pan, which is interesting. So it's kind of
Okay.
like a stew, but not cooked that long as you would cook a stew.
Right, it's fast, right?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
quick. It kind of, I guess,
Hmm,
maybe the acidity in the tomatoes break down the steak a little more and make it tender. Or you're in
interesting.
Italy, so the beef you're getting is really clean.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah. Okay.
so
Right on. I'm gonna go through some fun rapid fire questions, which are cool. I appreciate, taking the time out of your crazy schedule you got, and I appreciate, we finally got locked this down and
yeah.
get to hear all your stuff that you got going on. Uh, Favorite dish to cook, period.
Oh, I mean, if I'm at home, I've been making like cheese and crackers because it's so late. But my favorite dish, well, you know how it is when you're working, right?
I For sure.
Um, my favorite dish to cook, and I don't want to go back to the lasagna because I mean I really enjoy that, but a beef Milanese.
Tell us about it.
It's it's a thin pounded brown steak, or um, and you pound it out, and you egg and breadcrumb, and you pan sear it, with some butter and olive oil, and squeeze some lemon on it, and it's just you got to make it a little crispy. Um, but yeah, that with I made that last night actually for dinner with like a tomato, cucumber, avocado salad. That
Nice.
is, but I have got
So is
in.
that, that would be my next question. Is that kind of one of your go-to meals sometimes?
No, because I can't really find the beef like I like. So I gotta sometimes buy some Wagyu beef to
Okay.
get it tender enough. Because I did have like brajol and that on the menu, um, but I had to take it off. I'm working with the provider now, to try to get it where it's more tender and consistent. So hopefully we will figure that out, and get that back in the menu because people have asked for brajol, um, which is the rounded steak cooked in the sauce.
Nice. Favorite tool in the kitchen?
My thermometer.
Yeah.
No, um,
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't matter because like a lot of people say knives, a lot of people say like, you know, Roboku, whatever, right? But
yeah,
thermometer is great. Like, be specific. Like, it's you use an instant read or
yeah. I
just to
use an
get
I use an
just to get a
instant
feel
read
for it, right?
thermometer.
Yeah.
I can't remember what chef talked about it. Um, Man, he was famous too. But he pretty much talked about it, and he says you're never too good not to use a thermometer as a chef in a kitchen, to get your steaks the right temperature, or make sure, things are cooked through, or things are being held at the right temperature, which a lot of people don't know, that, when you hold stuff, it's got to stay, you know, above a certain degrees. It can't dip below for a certain amount of time, um, for food safety reasons. So,
Mm-hmm.
I knew you were going to ask me that question, and I totally forgot.
No, that's all good. I mean, but I always like hearing what tools, the people are using and what's their favorites, and yeah, thermometer's huge. Like I use it all the time. I got one of those Javelin instant readers and like I'm not afraid to use it. Like I want to know the chicken's done,
Yeah,
165. It's got to be 165. So
yeah,
it's 150. It ain't ready yet. So
yeah.
yeah, nothing wrong with that. And then of course steak, yeah, you want your medium rare.
Medium rare.
Yeah, you want a medium rare for sure. I asked you, you kind of said cheese and crackers, but comfort food after a long day of service, what's something you go for? Maybe something in Texas that you like to grab.
A chicken already cooked from HEB. Oh,
Yeah.
no, they do pretty good, but no, like honestly, like it's a good. I got into smoking, so that can be a whole nother episode. But in my house, and um, I do like having like, like a good brisket to come home to, or one of my big go tos would be going to get the bone in chicken and smoking it, um, with, um, I'm going to give him a shout out because he's a cool dude, with Matt from Meat Church, is Rubs, I don't know if that was
Yeah.
okay, but, he's a local guy.
No.
His store's right down the street from me, and he's got a good family. So, I love
I'd
putting,
love to have Matt on. So
yeah, well, I'll try to get him on for you. Yeah, he's a cool dude. Um,
yeah. So that
and
yeah, tell us like yeah. So smoking the chicken bone in.
Yeah, I love smoking that bone in chicken breast, just with his holy cow rub, and it comes out juicy and clean and fresh, and I can come home and just eat that cold right off the bone after a long day, and put my feet in my little massage, you know, device, and have my feet massaged while I'm eating my chicken, and it's kind of winding down from the days. We're working doubles right now still, so the days
Mhm.
are Tuesday through Saturday, or Wednesday through the Saturday, are some long days, but we're putting in the work for the future, and this is what it's going to take. So, you know,
Yep.
I'm not eating as much as I should,
Um,
Dave, to tell you the truth.
it's probably a good thing though.
Yeah.
Probably a good thing. Um, one lesson in life, probably, or one life lesson you probably learned from what the restaurant has given you.
Um, Gratitude. I'm just so grateful for the response from the community. Um, I mean, we have returning guests all the time, and that, we've been open 3 months, and we'll have people come in once a week. And that's huge for the restaurant business.
Yeah.
As that support, and it's taught me a lot of gratitude, and um, really just living in the moment, and realizing how blessed we really are for where we are today, and shit we've gone through in our past careers,
Mhm.
um,
Yeah.
which is a whole nother episode, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, stuff we can't talk about, but ghosts still scare you.
You can't shoot a ghost.
No, for sure. But here's a fun one. Most underrated Italian dish.
a good
It could be on your menu or off.
a good
Yeah. Sorry.
caprese.
Salad.
Yeah. Or like a bufala mozzarella, which is hard to find here. I do get it in sometimes from my provider, but I can just eat that right plain. And I don't think we use that enough here in like our pasta dishes and
One ingredient you can't live without.
kosher salt.
Yeah.
I can't wait to try your salt.
Yeah, yeah. Shout out to Firecracker Farm there.
Yeah.
I'll give them a plug right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. It's great. It's got a little bit of heat, so it's awesome. Dream guest walk in your doors. We'll just manifest it right here.
I am. We've had a couple of celebrities in the restaurant already,
Nice.
actually, which is thank you guys if you're going to listen to this. Um, I think Matthew McConaughey, right? He's a Texas guy.
Yeah,
He's cool as
yeah.
shit. I even thought about putting like Matthew McConaughey eats here for free. Like I saw someone do that and then they showed up.
Yeah. Well, there you go.
Yeah.
I gotta ask you this since you spent a lot of time in Italy. Favorite region in Italy for food?
Ligordia,
Probably hard to pick.
Ligordia,
Okay.
the pesto, um, the trophy pesto pasta is I had that on my menu and I was getting that pasta from Italy, but it's not coming through anymore right now. But trophies like the squiggly pasta. Have you seen trophy pesto or trophy pasta?
Uh, no.
Um, you have to look that up after, but it's like a small squiggly pasta.
Okay.
And that's like pesto's, Liguria is where pesto was invented,
Hmm.
the original way with pine nuts, not with how they do it all fancy now with pistachios or walnuts um, but pesto is one of my favorite go-to dishes in Italy, in the Liguria region. But,
Nice.
I gotta also give a shout out to my cousin who has the number one gelato in Italy. He wins almost every year. Marco and Maria Teresa. Um, they have a gelato shop in Varazze that um, their pistachio gelato is. I can eat that every night.
Tell us more about that shop.
Yeah, it's it. He's married to my cousin Maria Teresa. She's a Ferrando like me. I'm a Ferrando. Um, and um, they have a daughter who's going through culinary school now. Um, and he has won numerous years the best gelato in Italy, which is amazing. Um, I think I got his photo up there. Where did it go? Yeah, Marco.
Oh, there we go.
Let's see it. Yeah, it's a
Awesome.
book. It's kind of there. You go.
Sweet.
But they're a great family. So I gotta definitely say that their gelato and their desserts are amazing, and it's a nice little shop right there in the small town. Um, they just expanded to one in Genoa and Celli, which is the town next town over, a couple towns over.
Before we close it out, what do you want to be remembered for in your legacy?
Um, Friendliness, which is interesting because of the career we came from. But
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I can honestly say I don't have any enemies from when I worked before. Um, I was always professional and friendly, and I think you were too. So
Yep.
I think like welcoming and hospitable and approachable, friendly. I am Italian, so I talk louder. I got my hands under the table right now, so I'm not, I'm not like this.
Oh, that's all right, dude. Yeah,
Uh,
it's all good.
but yeah,
Um, I appreciate you coming on, taking the time out to tell your story. Again, for those that want the backstory, you got to listen to the previous episode. But for now, you got John's place. I'll leave you the floor, man. Like, you can leave advice for up and coming cooks, what to expect at your restaurant, maybe anything new that you got coming on, or any other projects you got working on. The floor is yours, man. Appreciate you coming on.
Yeah, well, thank you. I appreciate you having me again. Um, a piece of advice I can honestly give is to follow your passion, follow your dream. Um, and that's what I did. Don't get me wrong, I loved my first career. I have no regrets. But this definitely is my passion. This comes from my heart. And do not listen to social media or other people because you're going to hear all these statistics on the failure of restaurants and the failure of chefs and you really got to look in the mirror and ask yourself if you're ready to take on this project because it's going to be hard. You're going to have times where you're going to cry. you know there's going to be times you're going to laugh. There's many ups and downs in this career path, but you have to put the work in, today to where you want to where you want to be and where you want to go, because too many people give up when they're so close, you know. Um and to follow that, to just believe in yourself and don't let anybody discourage you from what you want to do or what you feel in your heart.
Awesome. 100%. Drop all your information here. Visit johnsplace.com is your website. You also have an Instagram as well. It's 103 East Main Street in Waxahachie, Texas, inside the historic Rogers Hotel. Appreciate you, John. Thanks for coming on. Thanks, everybody, for listening. We're
David.
out.